Ooh, God damn. Man, look.
Hi, you guys.
Hey. Ooh. Man. My mama got ass too. Just give me 3.5 minutes. Maybe even 4. She'll be wanting to marry a nigga.
All right. Shalom, family. It's your brother Kanaiba coming at you once again with this video titled The Man's Biggest Appetite, the Woman. Control Yourself, Israelite Man. Okay? So looking at the clip that just played, it goes right into the title of this video. And of course, there was a clip from the oldie but goodie Friday. And we saw how Craig and Smokey was pretty much, fawning over Nia Long's character, right? And that goes into the topic of this lesson, okay? A man's biggest appetite, of course, is the woman. When you look at everything a man does in this world, it's usually tied to women, so to speak, okay? The level of success he has, how much money he makes, the type of cars he has, the type of house he possesses, and things of that nature, subconsciously or consciously, it's usually tied to the type of women that the man wants, okay? And I'm not saying that's completely right per se, but that's just the way it is, okay? And the scriptures talk about this, and it actually warns us against our appetites, okay? Because when a man gets so overtaken by this particular appetite or this particular desire, okay, which is women, of course, it can lead to his destruction in more ways than one, okay? And of course, I want to get into the scriptures and talk about that, all right? And even when you're dealing with social media, okay, that desire or that appetite is strong there as well, okay? There's a lot of women on social media that, pretty much let it all hang out. But you can't be overtaken by that, okay? You don't necessarily know if these women are taken. A lot of times they won't specify it in their bio, okay? Especially women that's in the world, okay? So you have to be careful with that. But we're going to touch on a lot of that in this particular lesson, okay? So without further ado, let's get into it, all right? So this is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 18, starting at verse 30, and it reads, Go not after thy lust, but refrain thyself from thine appetites, okay? So the first part of the verse says what? Go not after thy lust. And now this word lust is a word that's taken out of context a lot. The word lust, people automatically think that, it only has a sexual connotation to it. The word lust is simply dealing with desire, okay? You can have a desire for anything. Thus, you can have lust for anything, okay? But oftentimes, most people lust is dealing with the sexual side of things. So that's why that word is oftentimes applied to sexuality, so to speak, okay? But it's not synonymous with sex, okay? It's just dealing with desire. But it says, go not after thy lust or thy desires, but refrain thyself from thine appetites, okay? That desire again. But now the second part of the verse says, but refrain thyself from thine appetite, right? And like I said before, what is a man's greatest appetite? His biggest appetite or his greatest desire? It's women, okay? Especially beautiful women. Men Men tend to lose their mind over beautiful women. Even the scriptures talk about that. And, we're going to get into those precepts as well. Let me not jump the gun. But, that's why the scriptures has to stress in Proverbs chapter 31 that beauty is vain. Okay? A woman's outward appearance has no bearing on the type of person that she is inside. Okay, so you can't get overtaken with the surface, so to speak. Okay, you have to look deeper into a woman and see how beautiful her spirit is. Okay, so moving forward, this is verse 31, and it reads, "If thou givest thy soul the desires that please her, she will make thee a laughing stock to thine enemies that malign thee." Okay, so now we really getting into it, because that's why I said your desires, if you go overboard with it, it can destroy you. Okay, and that's going to be one of the big focal points of this video. Okay, your appetites or your desires, if you don't have constraint and if you don't have self-discipline, can lead to your destruction. Okay, on different levels. Okay, that's why the verse says that your desires will make you a laughing stock. Okay, and we're gonna get into that. All right, so putting things in its proper perspective. Okay, if a man's biggest appetite is women, especially beautiful women, okay, that means if you don't have any self-discipline with your desires towards women, that your desire for women can lead to your destruction. It can lead to you being made a laughing stock, okay, amongst people, especially amongst your enemies, as the verse says. All right, so now moving forward, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 36 and verse 22, and it reads, "The beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance, and a man loveth nothing better." Okay, so the beginning of the verse says that the beauty of a woman cheereth the countenance. Okay, having a beautiful woman on your side, it cheers a man up. Okay, oftentimes you may see a brother, he may be walking around with a big Kool-Aid smile on his face all the time, and you may be wondering what is wrong with you, or what's going on? Why are you so smiley? Well, you may have got him a beautiful woman. A beautiful woman will do that. It cheers a man up, just simply being in the presence of beautiful women. It puts a man in a better mood, okay? Especially if her spirit matches the outward. Oh my God. But anyway, the second part of the verse says what? "And a man loveth nothing better." Okay, that's what I said. I said a man's biggest appetite, his greatest desire is what? Women. And especially a beautiful woman. Okay, as we see right here in Ecclesiasticus chapter 36 and verse 22. Okay, but remember what I already said. Okay, a lot of brothers, they can get overtaken by the beauty of a woman. Okay, and it can lead them to go out of their minds. Okay, it can lead them to do a lot of foolish things. Okay, and it can ultimately lead to a man's destruction. All right, so now let's get into that. This is the book of 1 Esdras, chapter 4, starting at verse 26, and it reads, "Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women, and become servants for their sakes." Boy, if we don't see this in this day and age, there's a reason why the word simp has become so popular. Okay, there's a lot of brothers that done ran out of their wits for women. Just look at the word simp. I liken it to the word simple. Okay, the word simp is just short for simple. It's a man that's simple-minded when it comes to women. He's ran out of his wits. The wisdom is not there. Okay? And the verse goes on to say what? It says, and become servants for their sakes. Okay? This is backwards. Okay? The woman was created to be a helpmeet. Okay? So basically, she's supposed to be joining your program, not the other way around. You're not supposed to be a servant to her. Okay? She's supposed to be a servant to you, so to speak. Okay? She's supposed to be there to help you with whatever it is that you need help with. Okay? So moving forward, this is verse 27, and it reads, many also have perished, have erred, and sinned for women. Okay? So now when you look at the beginning of this verse, it says what? Many also have perished. Okay? You have brothers that done lost their lives over women, and we're gonna get into that. Okay, that's why I said that this particular appetite, okay, which is beautiful women, if you don't have that constraint, if you don't have that self-discipline, it can lead ultimately to your destruction. Okay, so then the verse goes on to say what? That many have erred and sinned for women. There's a lot of brothers that tend to go off for women. Okay, they sin. They break the laws of the Most High simply over a beautiful woman. Okay, which is gonna lead to this next clip I wanna play from the same movie, the oldie but goodie Friday. Okay.
Why don't you just give him a little bit for my cataract?
You didn't put in on this, man.
It's better to get a receipt, my brother. Look, she bending over. Lord have mercy. The Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want. Excuse me, brother. Miss Parker! Can I talk
Told
to
you.
Miss Parker?
The weed be letting you know. Evil alert.
Put that weed down. That's off too. It's going into witchcraft. But I'm gonna stay on the topic at hand. But again, going back to the scriptures, when you look at 1 Esdras chapter 4 and verse 27, it says that many have perished. But then this is the focal point. It says many have erred and sinned for women. Okay, so when you go back to the movie, you know, Bernie Mac, his character, which was a pastor, if I'm not mistaken, you know, he saw Miss Parker bent over, you know, watering her lawn or whatever. And, you know, he didn't have that constraint. Okay. He didn't know how to deal with his appetites. Okay. He didn't refrain from his appetites, so to speak. And what did that lead to? It led him to sin, because Miss Parker, she's a married woman. Okay. So that led him to do what? Commit adultery. Okay, that's what that led to. So now let's go to the book of Sirach chapter 9 and get some more understanding on adultery. Okay, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 9, starting at verse 8, and it reads, turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty. Letting us know what? You have to refrain from your appetites. You don't give in to your lust. You know, that's how we started this lesson. That's what this is going into. Refrain from your appetites. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman, and look not upon another's beauty, which is exactly what Bernie Mac did in the movie. He looked upon another's beauty. That was a married woman. Okay? Continuing on. For many have been deceived by a beautiful woman. Okay? For herewith love is kindled as a fire. Verse 9. Sit not at all with another man's wife. Okay? Which is exactly what he did, amongst other things. Nor sit down with her in thine arms. Okay? No, it was much more than that going on, right? And spend not thy money with her at the wine. Okay. So whenever you brothers at the club, a lot of y'all be apt to buy a woman a drink, not knowing if that woman is already taken. Okay, you have to be aware of these things. You have to have that constraint. Refrain from your appetites, okay? It says, lest thine heart incline unto her, and so through thy desire thou fall into destruction. You see how that lined up perfectly? Didn't the scriptures tell you to refrain from your appetites? And haven't I been saying that your appetites can lead to your destruction? Okay, that's what this is going into. Okay. At first, the verses said that, your appetites can lead to what? You being a laughingstock. Okay, but this is much worse. It's leading to your utter destruction. Okay. But just going back to the movie, just think about it. When Miss Parker's husband got home, all hell broke loose. Okay. Bernie Mac got the hell out of Dodge. He literally ran for his life, okay? Because it could have led to his destruction. That man was highly upset. He was enraged, okay? The little man that ran out the house. Oh, boy, the husband, he took that brick and busted Bernie Mac's window, the window shield to his car, okay? But also just showing that the scriptures are true. Not only that, Bernie Mac became a laughingstock because you got to understand, Craig saw the whole thing. Then he told Smokey, and you know how black folks are, our word is going to get around. So, of course, he became a laughingstock as well because he didn't refrain from what? His desires, his appetites. Okay? But this whole situation could have been avoided had he had control and self-restraint, okay? Had he not given in to his lust, and had he not, if he had a refrain from his appetites, he never would have looked upon another's beauty, okay? And that's what caused this whole thing, all right? That's why Yahweh Shai said this. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5, starting at verse 27, and it reads, Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, Thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay, it's going into the law, to Torah, right? Verse 28. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. Okay, verse 28 it's another verse that's kind of taken out of context, okay? A lot of people say, if you look upon a woman and lust after her, you committed adultery. Well, first of all, the woman will have to be married in order for a man to commit adultery with her, okay? If that woman is not married, okay, and he's looking upon her in that way, then he hasn't committed adultery because she's not a woman that's taken, okay? But the point being is, when you go back to that movie, Bernie Mac, he did look upon a married woman and lusted after her. And at that point, he had already committed adultery with her in his heart, or his mind, so to speak. Okay. But as we know, okay, I've done lessons on this. Okay. That, sin, it starts off as what? A thought. Okay. It starts with your lust, okay? And that lust, once it's conceived as a thought, then what's brought forth, okay? Sin is born, right? Meaning you physically act on that thought, and that's exactly what Bernie Mac did, okay? So moving forward, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 21, and it reads, Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for thy pleasure. Okay? And like I said before, a lot of brothers, they stumble at the beauty of a woman. Okay? And like I said before, that's why the scriptures has to stress in Proverbs 31 that beauty is vain. Okay? the beauty of a woman is vain. It has no bearing on the type of woman that she is inwardly. Okay? Her beauty has no bearing on the type of wife she's going to be, the type of mother she's going to be. Okay? So forth and so on. Okay? So you can't stumble at a woman's beauty. Okay? Focus on other things as well. All right? The verse goes on to say, and desire her not for pleasure. But what happens? A lot of times, that's the main focal point, or the only focal point that brothers have when dealing with women. Okay? And then you wonder why your life is in disarray. Okay? Well, you were the one that was chock full of lust to begin with. Okay? Your intentions for this sister wasn't, pure, so to speak. Okay? It was only carnal. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of these overly righteous brothers. Okay? You're naturally going to have a desire for women. Okay? That simply makes you normal, especially in a society that pushes the ABC 1, 2, 3 movement, if you catch my drift. Okay? So, it's a blessing to be a normal heterosexual male that has normal desires for women. Okay, but the point is you can't let that go overboard to the point where it causes you to err and to sin because of the beauty of a woman. Okay, don't go out of your wits, aka don't stumble at the beauty of a woman. Okay, because what has been the theme of this video, that if you give into your lust and you don't refrain from your appetites, which we know a man's biggest appetite is what? Beautiful women. That can lead to your destruction. Okay, which leads us to this last clip I want to play from a movie called Eve's Bayou. Okay, which starred Samuel L. Jackson. He was one of the stars in the movie, and his character committed adultery with one of his close confidants, if my memory serves me correctly. And, well, let's just let the video play, and you're going to see how it led to his destruction. Okay, him not refraining from his appetites, and it led to him sinning, and that led to his destruction. Okay, so let's get into it.
You fucking my wife?
Don't be ridiculous, Lenny.
You fucking her?
You're drunk.
You like her? She's very beautiful. Fucking her?
Lenny, Maddie and I are old friends. You know that as well as anyone.
I trusted you, Louis. And you've been fucking Maddie. I love you, Louis.
I love you, Lenny.
Come on, Daddy, let's go home. That's right, you're drunk, baby. Let me take you home.
Listen, you so much as speak to my wife again, and I will kill you. Do you understand?
Gentlemen, take it outside.
Let's get the hell out.
Go home, sleep off that whiskey, old man. You can apologize to me tomorrow.
You speak to her again, you're dead, Louis.
Come on, Daddy, let's go home. Please.
Okay, baby. Night, Maddie.
Boy. Whew, Lord and Christ. You see that? Okay, the scriptures hold true. Now, many of you may say, well, that was just a movie. Well, guess what? A lot of times, fiction simply mirrors reality. Okay? And we see here, Samuel L. Jackson, he wasn't able to refrain from his appetites. Okay? He dealt with a beautiful woman that just so happens to be married, and he knew she was married. Okay? And so what happened? It led to his destruction. Okay? He went out of his wits for a woman, which caused him to err. It caused him to sin. And that led to his destruction. Okay? And then, not only that, the man warned him, if you say one more thing to my wife, if you so much as speak to her, I will kill you. That was the man's words. And what did Samuel L. Jackson do? He said, good night, Maddie. He spoke to her anyway. See, here again, the scriptures are true. The scriptures tell us what? That pride goeth forth before destruction. He was so chock full of pride, thinking, he ain't gonna shoot me for real. He just drunk. Okay, well, you found out that day. Okay, he was not bluffing. All right, and we're about to get into the scriptures dealing with the rage of a man who his wife has committed adultery with another man. And it lines up perfectly with what we just watched. Okay, and ultimately what this whole video is about. Okay, you have to have that constraint and refrain from your appetites, because it can lead to your destruction. Okay, so let's get into these last verses. This is Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 25, and it reads, lust not after her beauty in thine heart. Okay, talking about the whorish woman. Okay, and in this particular movie, that was a whorish woman, right? And it says, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. Okay, that's a whole nother topic or a whole nother lesson I can get into, these eyelids. Okay, but we gonna stay on topic. The next verse 26, and it reads, for by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Okay, so the beginning of verse 26 says what? For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. Okay, but herein lies the problem. A whorish woman would never be able to bring a man to this low estate if he's able to refrain from his appetites. Okay, if he has self-constraint, if he's disciplined. Okay, then this situation would never even occur. Okay, that's the point. All right, so moving forward a bit, this is verse 27, and it reads, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Okay, and this verse 28 says, can one go upon hot coals and his feet not get burned? Okay, this is dealing with adultery. Okay, this is where the saying in the world comes from. If you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Okay, and that's what adultery is being likened unto, playing with fire. Okay, because if you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. Okay, that's what adultery is, playing with fire. Okay, you're gonna get burned. All right. Let's look at the next verse. It says, so he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Okay, you playing with fire. All right. And Samuel L. Jackson, in that movie, he played with fire. And guess what? He got burned. Okay, and that burning came in the form of a bullet. All right, and it led to his destruction, because he didn't refrain from his appetites. He couldn't control himself. Okay, so let's read the top of verse 29 again. It says, so he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife. Okay, you lay down with her. All right, that's a dangerous thing. And that's been the theme of this video. Okay, like we said before, a man's, his greatest or his biggest appetite is what? Beautiful women. And we already said that if you don't have that discipline, it can lead to your destruction. First it may lead you to be a laughingstock. We saw that in the clip of Friday with Bernie Mac's character. Okay, then we go into the movie of Eve's Bayou, and we see that it led to Samuel L. Jackson. It led to his character's destruction, his death. Okay, both situations, the men in those situations, okay, they let their lust get the best of them. Okay, they let their appetites get the best of them, and it led to them being a laughingstock, and it led to them being destroyed. All right, let's continue. The end of verse 29 says what? Whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Okay, you're not innocent in that particular situation. All right, especially if you know the woman was married to begin with. But it's just, even if you didn't know, these are things you're supposed to vet a woman about. Okay, now certain situations, okay, maybe you really truly did not know, but you have to really vet an individual before you get to that point of laying down with them. Okay, that's what I've been saying this whole time. You have to have that restraint and that discipline. Don't be so quick to hop in bed with women, okay? Control your appetites, okay? Your desires. All right? So now, jumping down a bit, this is verse 34. And it reads, for jealousy is the rage of a man. Okay, and we saw that in the movie Eve's Bayou. We saw how enraged the woman's husband was when he found out that Samuel L. Jackson had been sleeping with his wife. Okay, it got to the point of murder. Okay, the verse is telling you, for jealousy is the rage of a man. Right? Then it goes on to say what? Therefore, he will not spare in the day of vengeance. Okay, and he did not spare Samuel L. Jackson's life. Well, you know what? In a way, he kind of did. Okay, but Samuel L. Jackson, he still got murdered. Okay, but the man told him, if you so much as say hi to her one more time, roughly paraphrasing, I will kill you. Okay, but what led to Samuel L. Jackson's destruction is that pride. Not believing that the man would actually make good on his word. Okay, but the whole point is, when you actually commit adultery with a woman, okay, that woman's husband, the type of fury that he may feel can lead to him, taking your life away. And we seen that plainly in this particular movie, Eve's Bayou. Okay, like I said before, a lot of times fiction simply mirrors reality. Okay, and like I said before, also my channel, we have to look at everything from a biblical and a spiritual vantage point. Look at everything spiritually. Okay, so the next verse says what? He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. Meaning what? When you commit adultery with another man's wife, okay, it's almost impossible to make it right with him again. Okay, no amount of gifts or anything like that is gonna correct the wrong that you did. Okay, but anyway, I believe this is actually a good place to bring the lesson to a close. Again, the title of this video is The Man's Biggest Appetite, the Woman. Control your appetite, Israelite man. Okay? You so-called blacks, African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, you men. Okay? Control your lust, your desire for women. Okay? Of course, the desire is going to always be there. You're normal. You're human. Okay? It's a good thing. But you have to be able to control that desire. Okay? Control yourself. All right? So with that being said, I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And until next time, Shalom, family.